Hello everybody and welcome back. And in the previous video we finished actually coding our program. Right now we should be good to go and we should actually try to run it. So there is another thing that we actually need to add, but we can add it after we actually test the program itself and see if it actually works well. Now I will test with rogu.txt password list. You can use any password list you want. Basically right now we are not trying to actually brute force it. Right now we are trying to see if it actually works. Then after that we will specify the correct username and password in some list, and we will see if it can find the username and password that is actually correct. After that, since if I just open my program, .py, right here you can actually see that I don't have an actual function that will actually print the users what the usage of this program is, so we'll have to code that as well. But that is rather simple and not needed at the moment, so we can just run this program right now. Let me just delete the basic authentication as .py.save, since I renamed the file to be basic.py since it is a lot less shorter. And right now we know that we can run it with this, and then we can specify all the options that we added in our program, which is -w for the URL, which will be http 192.168.1.1 for the IP address of my router. Then -u for the username. I will use anything, doesn't really matter. We will not be able to brute force it with this username, but it doesn't matter. Number of threads to be 5, and the file that we will use, let's set the path to be user share word lists, and then rogu.txt. And right now we can actually press enter and see if this will work well with our coded brute forcer. So we can see it is running through all these passwords, and we can see our program actually works well. It went through like 15 passwords right here. They are not valid, of course, and after I specified the control C, it said interrupted. Our program works good. Right now, before we actually try to actually brute force with the correct username and password, let me just restart the terminal, since it is being a little bit laggy. And let's actually add the function that will actually print the users the usage of this program. So nano basic authentication.py, and we can add that function right here. It doesn't really matter. What we want to do is just give the users the simple usage of this program, specification of all the commands, and a simple example of the command itself. So we can do that with several print commands, or with one print command with the 3 single quotes. As we saw in my backdoor creation, we can use 3 single quotes at the beginning and at the end of the string in order to specify a string that will be multi-line. Now, we do not have to do that. We can just use print option for everything. Let's use a function called usage, and we can print usage, which will be the first line. The second line can be moved like 1 tab, so -w, and then URL. And then let's specify in the brackets, for example, http somesite.com. So we specify in the brackets, we close the double quotes, we print the next usage, so -u for the username. So let us add these two so the people know that they need to separate it. So it will be username like this, then print the next one, so -c for the threads, I believe, yeah, threads, close the double quotes, and the last one, or actually last option, will be -f for the file itself, so password list. Okay, so right now what we want to do is actually print the simple usage, or a simple example of using. So example could be actually basic auth.py -w for the link, so http://www.somesite.com, -u for the username, which can be admin, -t for threads, that can be 5, -f for the file with passwords, which can be pass.txt. And when we put it to be string, and we have our usage function coded in our program. Now all we have to actually do right now is actually call this function somewhere from our program. So let's see where we can add it. We need to add it right here. So as soon as we actually type the banner, we need to set a simple if-else loop, basically that will check if the usage needs to be printed out or not. So for example, if a user specifies a different number of arguments, adds some argument that doesn't exist, or doesn't use an argument that is needed, for example, they specify the URL, the username and the threads, but don't specify the password list, our program will still not work. So we need to specify at the beginning of the program, before it starts doing anything else, we need to specify whether the number of arguments is equal to 5, since we actually have 5 arguments. Now you might be asking, how do we have 5 arguments when we here only have 4? Well, basically the name of the file itself, or the program itself, is also counted as an argument, so we have to include that one too. So how can we do that? We can do that simply with this. So if length of the sys arguments is lesser than 5, basically, as I said before, 5 arguments, we will print the usage of our program. So we will call this function, which will then print this that we printed right here. So, and then the user will know what they need to specify. And then we can close the actual program, so sys.exit, and we should be good to go right now. So let us see how this will work. Everything is set, we are good to go. So let us Control O this, so Control O, then ls. Then let's say we just want to specify the URL, so http google.com. We only specify that. We just run this, and you can see we get the banner and the simple usage of the command. So right now, if the user was running this for the first time, they will right now know what to do. So let us actually test if this works. Now the username for my router is telecom, and the password is also telecom. I set that for this video, so we can see if that will work. So let me nano passwords.txt in this directory, and here we will specify some random passwords. So admin, root, administrator, password 1234, hello world. Basically we can just type here anything, including numbers, and then let's here type here telecom. Then add something more. And that should be about it. So right now we have the correct password for my router right here, and we will now check out if the program itself will actually manage to find this password right here. So let me see if everything is set to go. We run the basic.py and we see the usage. So let us type the command -w http IP address of my router, -u, the username is telecom, -t, let's use 5 threads, and -f for the password list that we want to use, which is in my current directory, so all I have to do is specify the name of the file itself. Now if I press here enter, we can see it really fastly found the correct password. So right here you can see it went through these passwords, is not valid, and then it found password, found telecom. So we actually saw that our program works perfectly. It can find the password, it can brute force really fast using our threads, and it most likely will work in any case where you have the basic authentication protocol, or basically basic authentication on your login page. So that would be about it for this coding of our Bruteforcer. Now we will continue with a few more videos in the next lectures, and then we will finish up and wrap up our course. Hope you enjoyed this coding section, and I hope I see you in the next lecture. Bye!